Uh, Hey everyone, how's everyone doing? And doing okay here. It's it's kind of extravagance and went and saw the latest of what's coming out of Marvel Studios of the Eternals. I am what I think of it, and I certainly see it as being very much a big turn of events type of movie and stuff like that. It's sort of like very well, probably not turn of events is probably the right word, but certainly change of with that branching out into that new era type of thing of how they approach the storyline and everything else like that. And it's very strong, in that sort of sense. Of course, it's still like gives reference, but like with the Ten Rings, where they mention of the thing of Thanos and doing the type of thing and everything else like that. And but with the Eternals, it seemed to take a little bit more of a meaning behind it instead of just giving a reference like Ten Rings did. So, and a bit of a repercussions from it, and turns out the events of what the Eternals are needed for. But why they pretty much approached it too was the Eternals is sort of like not from Earth, that got sent to Earth by a planet called Olympia. It does take on a little bit of that Greek heritage and Greek names and stuff like that, and sent to Earth to protect it and stuff like that. It's like a pretty large group and everything else like that, and of course they had quite a lot of turn of events and everything else like that in the group and outside the group and everything else like that. So and everyone's like needing to find their place on Earth and stuff like that. Because they've been on protecting Earth for quite a long time, like centuries. Like they're well into the BC, the side of things, and there for Babylon, and there for like the Spanish invasion of Central America and all that, and so they've been around for quite some time, and everything else like that till present day, basically. It's I certainly enjoyed the cast they have behind it. Of course, it had some, pretty much like veterans and stuff like that, like Angelina Jolie and Selma Hayek, and those guys have still like been around for a while, but they seem to be taking a bit more of that supporting role than instead of the lead role. But it certainly has a good place in what they do and stuff like that, and understanding the story and how they go about things and everything else like that, and how they get to this particular place. So probably not really anything in the way of bad or anything like that behind it. I've never really taken on board the comics or any novels or anything like that with this particular sort of thing. So it's still like very fresh in the mind, and it's still like very nothing in the way predictable about it and whatnot. So probably the only thing is sort of like starting to really realise that is sort of like having that cameo and producer credits or executive producer credits of the late Stan Lee. So like it's sort of like I'm starting to miss that a little bit now. I quite enjoyed it. But I did enjoy it, and everything else like that. And of course, it's good to watch the cutscenes in the credits and at the end of the film and everything else like that to get a bit of an idea of what's going on and everything else like that. I'll leave it at that. Oh, probably one thing there is so I did actually mention with how they did not deal with being with Thanos and stuff like that. Taking care of Thanos, basically. But they do have like a prime directive behind it all and stuff like that. Pretty much if you like familiarise with Star Trek and their prime directive of not interfering with developing cultures and creatures and planets and stuff like that until they pretty much have something in the way of warp theory. And it's pretty much the same where they don't interfere with development of the humans and stuff like that. There's a bit of a funny place in Babylon, and they tried to, one guy who was, inventing things, and tried to invent a big steam engine type thing. Thinking, a bit too early for that. Alright, here's a plough. So, I certainly do enjoy it, so if you're seeing the big screen or go see it on Disney Plus, I certainly do recommend it. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that, and next week I'll go pick up on the latest James Bond film. So, consider subscribing down below, and till next time, have a good one. Time for me to have some coffee and toast and edit this thing.